Good morning, honorable members. I would like us to start. Babalwa, do we have quorum?
Yes, Chair, we do have a quorum. We can start a meeting.
Thank you, Babalwa. I'd just like to welcome everyone this morning and thank you for agreeing to have this meeting so early. I know there are several debates that are already starting shortly after this. And so we are going to have to manage our time wisely in the meeting. If there is, I just want to check, Babalwa, do we have any apologies?
Yes, Chair, we did. I did receive an apology from Rev Meshwa.
100%. Thank you very much. Please send our regards and well wishes for him to recover soon. From what you told me, he is a bit ill. There we go. Then just short opening remarks. We will be going through the observations as well as recommendations of the report that was generated after our sitting on Wednesday. Remember that next week, Tuesday, it is the debates regarding the budget. So please make sure that we all prepare adequately for those debates next week, Tuesday. I would like to continue. If there are any other apologies apart from Babalwa, what you just said, Babalwa, is there anyone else that would like to add anything? Honorable Plaatjes, you look very warm this morning. I was just saying to Babalwa that, the good thing about being virtual is that I can wear my pajama shorts and just wear a neat shirt on top. But my wife then advises me not to stand up during the meeting. With that, I would like to ask Nicolette to please share the first report for us to please start going through the relevant points. So we're going to start with the observations from the report regarding the SAPS budget and APP hearings that we had. It was compiled after our meeting on Wednesday. I think there were a few crucial things that really stood out after all the discussions, and it was communicated by almost everyone in the committee. The one that everyone feels strongly about, and this is a general feeling across Parliament, not only in our committee, is the concern of the lack of sufficient time to really interrogate the documents. I would like to remind you, though, that there will be an amendment period later this year that we can make use of. I do not want to slow down or unnecessarily slow down work of the police or other relevant departments, but we will have amendment periods later on this year. I think it's important, and from the committee side, we will do what we can to ensure that all the relevant documentation is given to us with enough time to prepare properly for these kinds of meetings. At the moment, everything feels very rushed, but we do have a constitutional mandate to get certain things done. We then also questioned why, and this was something that was very strongly raised by Honorable Adams, Honorable James, and Honorable Ndlozi, about why they do not include the murder rate as a performance indicator. And then also noted that the murder rate was higher than many active war zones. This is indeed accurate. At the moment in South Africa, we've got over 85 murders per day, which is higher than certain war zones. And it was then also noted that the top 30 high contact crime stations have remained unchanged, and basically that they just swap in terms of ranking, but that they always stay in the top 30. Something that was added to that was that, the community, everyone knows who the criminals are, and it was questioned why SAPS sometimes create the impression that they do not know who those criminals are. It was also then noted that there should be more specialized operations to focus on specific kinds of crime like gender-based violence. The committee then raised further concerns about the performance indicators with regards to regulation of firearms, specifically the rate at which SAPS owned firearms were being lost or then stolen to. I know there were also comments made regarding technology to try and stop this and better manage it. And then obviously, the comparison between the loss of firearms and the extremely high murder rate. Please also just note that when we speak of the loss of firearms, it would include stolen firearms from state authorities, whether SAPS or otherwise. And obviously, we also know that it would include civilians too. One of the suggestions made by Honorable Ndlozi was to embed GPS tracking devices in firearms and vehicles to monitor the movement. Something that I might just add there for clarity, all vehicles of SAPS are fitted with tracking devices, and it has assisted in many investigations to ensure that the right things were done, and where wrong things were done, that it was corrected and added. I know also that there has been quite a bit of a discussion regarding body cams for members. I need to add this here. Sorry, Nicolette. It's something that we didn't discuss. You can choose. We can just ask the committee whether we should add it. But those body cams would also mean that we can track the members more effectively. Point 5.4. The committee noted the concerns about the allocation and the availability of resources at police stations, and especially when you compare affluent areas to others. One of the examples that keeps on coming up in Cape Town specifically, and I know it's an example that's been cited nationally, and it's a good example because it is definitely the truth. If you look at the police ratio in a place like Claremont, you've got a significant amount of police officers per civilian. But if you go to a place like Harare, then it's a whole different picture. Then police are severely, severely outnumbered, and we need to question that kind of resource allocation in terms of human resources. Something that was questioned as part of that, that it might be good to note on this point, Nicolette, is the fact that, for example, news stations like Makaza, they have drawn members away from stations like Harare. Now, the National Commissioner did say that there were members taken from more affluent areas, but I know for a fact that members were taken from stations like Harare. And the challenge with this would basically mean that you're now taking members from an already under-resourced station to start up yet another under-resourced station. That's just important to note. The 5.5, as the committee noted, that the delivery of new police stations and mobile contact points, as per SAPS infrastructure development plan, take too long and are often in poor condition. Nicolette, I would like to add a point here as an example, and this is what happened yesterday. I was informed due to the flooding in the Western Cape, the Vredenburg police station was officially closed yesterday. And this is something I think we should make a note of to in future ask the question, is there or are there sufficient mobile units in order to that are available to mobilize for those kinds of emergencies, specifically at that station. And I have already communicated it to the Minister of Public Works, and I'm awaiting a report on it, and I will obviously communicate it to the committee. But I am very worried about the fact that, for example, Vredenburg SAPS, and we know nationally it's a problem with many police stations, these issues have been raised before about maintenance. And now, despite the fact that Vredenburg's poor conditions was raised year upon year, because of the lack of maintenance, the building or the roof basically collapsed. And now that whole station is not only closed, the archives are also in danger because of the flooding. Point 5.6, the committee noted the continued attrition within the Detective Services Division with great concern and noted that this was obviously having a direct impact on the ability of SAPS. There's a major issue with experienced members also growing. I think, Nicolette, to add there, just something short, is the fact that we're losing experience. So it's not only losing human resources, but the experience going with it, that we need to try and retain. The committee further raised concerns about the working conditions of police officers in the Detective Services Division. FCS specifically was mentioned as an example. The example that was noted was in Kales River. I know Honorable James spoke about challenges in Eldorado Park, amongst other places. I know Honorable Skosana mentioned examples from Mpumalanga. So there are several national examples. I know there were examples from Gauteng, as well as Limpopo too, about the shortage of support and the poor working conditions of detectives. You can move down, Nicolette. Committee questioned the effectiveness of specialized units and task teams deployed to stabilize areas with specific crime trends, such as gang violence. And members noted that significant funds are spent on these units without producing tangible results. Something to note there, Nicolette, is just that the committee will be asking questions regarding this in future, and we will put measurable variables in place in order to hold the police accountable for the money spent compared to the return on investment. In 5.8, the committee noted that incidents of stock theft are increasing and have a devastating impact, whether it be subsistence or commercial. Members noted that stock theft units should be decentralized to station level, and that SAPS is to adequately address challenges posed to stock theft. I think something that's important here to note, and I actually forgot about it, I only thought of it after the committee, but this point by Honorable Skosana is incredibly important, and something that I remembered from the National Rural Safety Committee that I served on years ago was the fact that South African Police Service, the National Rural Safety Forum, used to always just come and tell us how many stations they've visited, etc. But there's no variable, again, to measure the input, and whether it's resources or whatever they might be spending on it compared to what the actual result is. So I think it's important that part of our measuring capability, and this we will later on in the year do in our strategic session together as a committee, we will see what we can do to better measure these successes and again compare it to what the resources are that are being spent in order to deliver these results. In 5.9, the committee highlighted that the performance and the budget of Crime Intelligence Division must be increased. This was something that was raised by almost every member in the committee, and it was with regards to proactive response as well. So receiving less than 5% of the total SAPS budget is not sufficient to capacitate this crucial division. Members have anecdotal examples where communities often know more than crime intelligence, especially related to drugs. The committee further urged the SAPS to utilize informants across all divisions and budget for the crucial aspect of crime intelligence. I think something worth noting there is that currently our proactive capability is extremely limited, and most of SAPS's activities seem to be reactive and not proactive. I think something, sorry, Nicolette, as well to add with that is the fact that if crime intelligence capability is increased, the detection rates of crime, as indicated by the performance plan and report, would actually improve as well. In 510, the committee raised concerns with the inadequate wellness programs for police members, and noted that the continued disregard of this important aspect has a direct impact on the morale and effectiveness of members and their ability to fight crime. I would just like to ask Nicolene that we make sure that we add that same point, and to just make sure that we have that same point in the IPID report. I've gone blank whether we did have it there. I think we did, but just make sure that we have that in the IPID report too. In 511, the committee resolves to further interrogate the budget allocations made to detective services and crime intelligence divisions of SAPS during the amendment period. If you can just scroll down. Yeah, the adjusted budget process, and the Minister of Finance tables the adjusted estimates of national expenditure in Parliament towards October 2024. I think some work something, just a short sentence, if possible, that we can add there is that we will also, again, before that, determine more detail of where extreme shortages are that need to be considered. In recommendations, Portfolio Committee recommends the following. SAPS management must put in place strategies to remedy the capacitation and challenges within the detective services and crime intelligence divisions to achieve lasting stability in these crucial divisions of the SAPS to reduce escalating levels of violent crime in South Africa. SAPS management must ensure enhanced focus on psychosocial interventions to assist members to cope with generally stressful work environment. Nicolette, can we please add something there that the committee will also question? We can add this in observations or recommendations, but the fact that there's such a shortage of social workers and psychologists inside the South African Police Service, because we can't expect the morale to improve if we don't look after the good cops. Then 6.3, SAPS should focus more efforts on the implementation of the National Drug Master Plan and Narcotics Intervention Plan, as well as the application of Section 33 of the Prevention of Treatment of Substance Abuse Act related to involuntary rehabilitation commitments. I think, yeah, that's something that I almost want to make it bold, capital letters, and underline it. I think substance abuse is one of the one of the biggest issues that we have. Again, something that we can add there too is the fact that the crime intelligence capability and infiltrating the networks that supply this is improved, because at the moment, as you can go and look at the last report by the transnational organized crime body. I'll actually share the report later on with the committee if you would like to read it. It shows that in South Africa, SAPS is still relying on a high level or on a high number of low level arrests. So they're not really cutting the snake's head off. They just keep on arresting the people with limited amounts of drugs with them, instead of removing the kingpins from circulation. 6.4, the integrated crime and violence prevention strategy should be implemented without delay to ensure a holistic approach to crime prevention in South Africa. I think we need to add something there about how the committee will hold them accountable to that, and it's something we need to add to our strategy. because we can say that it needs to be implemented, but how are we going to hold them accountable to implement it? Then 6.5, SAPS should improve the regulation of firearms in South Africa to stem the proliferation of illegal firearms and deaths associated with firearms. I think in terms of that, it's important that they just properly implement existing legislation. And then, that something we can add there is that the Central Firearms Register is capacitated properly, because it causes for major confusion, whether it's for legal firearm owners that have their firearms stolen or use them for the wrong reasons or lose them, or whether it's state firearms. CFR is not capacitated the way that it should be. In 6.6, the department should overhaul its ethos towards partnership policing. This is crucial. It should further conduct research on contributing factors that led to community-oriented policing, not finding traction since its adoption during the transitional period of the apartheid era South African police to democratic policing service. I think that is something that is absolutely crucial, and it's something that we can never allow not to change. We have to make sure that that is done. The department does revisit the rationale and the vision of the establishment of CPFs and their importance in community-oriented and partnership policing. I think to add there, we need to revisit the SAPS Act and the role of CPFs. It's not just the rationale and the vision. I think we do not have enough clarity. I know Honorable Plaatjes also mentioned this. I know Honorable James also mentioned this. I'm sorry if I'm missing someone that also added that. But there is serious confusion. Honorable Letlape, I think, also mentioned the fact that CPFs are playing a police role, and that they're actually being put in danger sometimes, and we need to clarify that. And if it's something that this committee can commit to, I think that would be a fantastic long-term result for us. 6.7 is further investment should be made in the development of data-driven analytics to identify crime patterns. There's a typo there, and criminal behavior to direct policing efforts more effectively. We'll go down now. The murder case of Mia Botha should be transferred from the Paarl Police Station to the National Cold Case Unit. This is a case that I want to discuss very briefly, and please feel free to comment. I asked to add it as an example in the report. It's a case that I was personally involved in, and I would like to invite the members in this committee. Honorable James, I know you specifically have lists of these kinds of cases, and I want to invite this committee that we have a victim-centered approach. In other words, if you have a specific case in your community, in your constituency, someone that works with you, regardless, there are cases that are called, please speak up. Let's see what we can do to set a new precedent as a committee to change the fact that people are just forgotten. Mia was a 4-year-old little girl. She was murdered over 2 years ago. I think it's 650 days this month. And to this day, no positive arrests were made. So I can carry on with several more examples. Akila Schroeder, it took us for Nosepiwe James is another case that I was involved with in Kalicha. The family, after a month of her being murdered, didn't even have a case number. So let's, as a committee, be a voice for the voiceless. I know it sounds very cliche when I say that, but let's use the opportunity to set a new precedent and to hold SAPS accountable for these types of incidents. In conclusion, the committee expressed gratitude for the interaction with the Minister of Police, the Deputy Ministers of Police, the National Commissioner and his team. The committee expressed its commitment to oversee the optimal functioning of the SAPS and bring the National Development Plan's vision to fruition. The committee will continue to monitor the SAPS implementation of its 2024 APP and strategic plan together with its budget spending. The committee encouraged the SAPS identify so-called low-hanging fruit that can make an immediate impact on the lived experience of South Africans. Continued shortages within detective services and crime intelligence environments must be addressed as a matter of urgency. The chairperson indicated the committee meeting should be dedicated to victims of violent crime. The Portfolio Committee on Police supports the budget of the Department of Police 2024-25 and recommends that budget vote 28 be adopted. Before we continue, something that just came up with me that I realize we haven't noted as a recommendation, and it's something we need to hold them accountable to, is the vehicle allocation issue. The fact that there is such a major problem with vehicles taking years to fix sometimes, and that when members go to local mechanics, etc., to help them, they are often victimized because they did so. When they're simply trying to do their jobs. So that's the one thing. And the other thing that we didn't mention as well, that I just thought of, was substance abuse by members. What do we do? What does SAPS have in place to help those members rehabilitate? And what do they have in place to prevent it from happening? Okay, honorable members, the floor is yours. If we can go through it in an orderly manner, if you would like to add any points, change or comment, please do so. I would like to ask that you just raise your hand and then we can in an orderly fashion do it. I would like to ask that please stay focused on the report itself, that we stick to the program. Thank you. Any hands? Everyone comfortable? If we
My hand is raised.
please go ahead.
No, thank you, Chair, for the report. I think there's just one aspect that I don't see reflecting in the report. Is the matter that I've specifically engaged on the effects of the depleted building on the contribution to the service delivery of SAPS and the alignment between public works and the police itself. They didn't really give me a clear answer, but I think I want to keep this one alive because I have asked them to come back and give us a full list on what is theirs, what is not theirs, so that we understand, Chair, when they raise the issue of depleted buildings and maintenance issues to us when we go and do our oversight, we are not confused. We know where to firmly put the blame when we go and do our oversight. And that is a very important matter to me.
Spot on, Honorable Plaatjes. I would like to add to that, Nicolette, if possible. Honorable Taibosh, I'm going to come to you shortly. Is that they also indicate on that list, Honorable Plaatjes, if you're comfortable with it, which buildings SAPS is simply renting from other entities, for example, the City of Johannesburg or City of Tshwane, no matter where, but that we have an indication of which buildings actually belong to public works, which buildings are being rented, why, etc. I think an example here that might be worth an oversight visit is the visit on the Telkom Towers, which was recently determined to be unfit for purpose, and it was unsafe for police members to work from there, and that it actually speaks on behalf of quite a few very dilapidated structures that are being used by the South African Police Service. Something that is also questionable here is just want to mute you. Hold on a second. Is the mobile units, whether they are adequate. I know we've asked about the time for them to be deployed, but I am worried about the fact that many of them aren't actually adequate if deployed. I know in Manenberg at the moment there's one, and I'm told that there are two members sitting there most of the time. It's in between two gang territories, and the toilet doesn't work either. It's the sewage keeps on running into the mobile unit. Thank you for that, Honourable Plaatjes. Honourable Taibosh. Honourable Taibosh, do you have a point to raise? Not. Honourable Letlape, please go ahead.
Thanks, Chair. Good morning. I just want to raise something. We are actually very inconvenienced now because we're in a portfolio committee and we're also traveling from the villages to Parliament because there's mini plenaries now. So it's just one of the things that we also raised during the course of the week, that the rush of this report is actually inconveniencing us. And the state has not changed really. We are still unable to make meaningful inputs because we have not had sufficient time. I'm not sure if the chair had suggested that we just make inputs, or immediately after that we either adopt or reject the report. But the inputs that I want to make is to just make the chair aware that you yourself, Chair, admitted that we had not had enough time to interrogate these documents and to make our own further investigation and research on what was presented to us. And it becomes very impossible then for us as members of Parliament to compile and to agree on a report that we're not necessarily part of. The inputs that we made had to, be constructed overnight. And in a few minutes after the presentation, we're supposed to make inputs. And I think that is very inadequate and insufficient time for members of this portfolio committee to make such critical inputs to this report. You have stated a lot in the report, and these are some of the inputs that we made. But the reality is that if we were to approve this report, it means that we are agreeing that we have consulted all the stakeholders, the relevant stakeholders. We spoke about how police officers are treated, how we need to consider their emotional, mental well-being and all of that. We have not consulted cop crew, for example, because those are also stakeholders to this report. How we need to go to these particular stakeholders and engage them on how do we make it better, a better environment for police officers so that we get their most efficient energies to do their work. We speak about gangs. There's no one in any of those reports that has said, this is what we have done. We've gone to these particular areas to establish what are the main contributors to these gangs and how are they impactful in the society and all of that. GBVs, we have not gone to NGOs, and these are the people who help us deal with GBV cases outside of SAPS. And that is why I'm saying it is very disingenuous for the chair and Parliament itself to want to push us to this point where we just acknowledge, we approve a budget and reports that we ourselves are not satisfactory of. The document that was presented to us, it's a document that was compiled by just researchers, and it is outside consultation, further consultation and research of this committee. So I really think that, Chair, we must be very cautious of this process. And I'm raising it again because we are now at a point where the committee must approve or disapprove. And you continuously mention that we've got a constitutional mandate to pass budget, but there is also constitutional mandate of ensuring that we go through a thorough process, that we legitimize and we dignify the reports that are presented in council. We also dignify and instill confidence in citizens of South Africa, because this is the money that we're going to approve in Parliament or in this committee to be tabled in Parliament is taxpayers' money. but they were not part of this process. They don't know. They are the victims. They are the ones that must be serviced with this money, but they don't know what is the intention of SAPS. We asked, they said they are going to put more money into police visibility. They don't know how many vans they're going to get. If we were to approve this budget, they don't know from the top of their heads, they don't know how many vans they would probably get and where they would be allocated. And those are the simple basics. We asked for that information. We could not even get a response from the National Commissioner or any of the delegation that was there. So it's very disingenuous, Chair. We spoke about Thohoyandou. You look at the top 30 high contact crime stations. None of the report or any section in that report makes reference to them particularly to say, this is what we want to do. If we were to get a particular amount of money, this is how the money is going to be spent. And that is what we need to know, because otherwise we're just giving away money from a fairy tale report. And I honestly think that you are doing us injustice, Chair. The person who delayed all of this process is the president. And in fact, we can now be forced to do certain things in a manner that we're doing now because there's a constitutional mandate, when there is also a constitutional mandate of us doing things in a proper way. I don't think we're doing justice to the citizens of this country. And this is a very important entity. So we are not going to play games with it, Chair, unfortunately. And I want to plead to you as well that don't force us to do things in a manner that is not satisfactory to us and to those that we serve. Just for the purpose of the committee submitting a report and passing a budget. So we're not going to, I personally don't agree with it, and the EFF will not agree to passing a budget and adopting a report that has not been given sufficient time to interrogate and to give sufficient inputs. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Letlape. Any further points to add? Please raise your hand if you want to add. Honorable Mwela. Please go ahead, Honorable Mwela.
Yeah, thanks, Chair, and greetings to all the committee members. Yeah, I think there are some few pointers which I think we deliberated on, which are not reflecting on the report, but most of the issues were tried to be consolidated, most particularly the issue of the infrastructure, which we stressed a lot on it, that there is an ambiguity with regard to the reflection in terms of the relationship between the buildings of the Home Affairs, of the public works, and the buildings which are in fact being refurbished or being built by the SAPS itself, which are taking longer to be completed, which are in fact disadvantaging the community in terms of the community service, which are in fact leading into reminded detainees into clouding the nearest precinct, which they have to refer them. Some they had to release them while they have not done thorough processes because of the overcrowding that they may be causing in those particular areas. I made a specific reference with regard to Teleboa precinct. I see here it is appearing that there is an Mangweng in Limpopo, which of course is there, but I made a reference with regard to Teleboa, which is also had more than many years without being finished, and the community are being forced to use a neighboring precinct, which is not in fact a good gesture to the community. And the other one that is silent is the issue of the cross-border national crime that is happening. The border, the crimes which are in relation to, they speak of smuggling of illegal immigrants, the smuggling of the narcotics, the smuggling of the firearms, and how is the plan with regard to those particular matters? The manner at which they are at the high rate, the report is not saying anything about it. The issue of kidnapping, the issue of the ATM bombing, which is extreme. In most areas, there is no reflection as to how are they then planning to cap those particular organized crimes activities, and what is the plan, what is the success rate, and how are we going to move forward in making sure that our people become safe in those particular areas. People who work there, the people who are affected by this particular organized crime. So that is some of the issues which were silent, but in particular, I think most of the issues were covered, Chair, which will then lead to us to, if those particular matters are addressed, then we'll then move with the report so that we are to check on others if whether they are reflecting what we've been articulating on or not. So that is my submission. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Muela. We've added all of that as you spoke. I completely agree with you. Then just give me 1 second, please. I'm going through the reports while we speak as well.
Hello.
Yes, please continue. Sorry, I'm just going through the report.
Good morning to all.
Honorable Susana, we can't hear you, Honorable Susana. Honorable Susana, we can't hear you.
I don't know why, but I can hear you very well.
Sorry, Honorable Susana, we can't hear you.
Do you hear me?
No. Honorable Susana, I'm just going to give 2 minutes. I'm going to hand it over to Honorable Shikeli, and then come back to you, Honorable Susana.
Good morning, Chairperson and members of the committee. Chair, while I agree that we haven't had time to consult with everybody, we still have the opportunity to do so. And what is reflected in front of us with the inputs of the committee members is what we discussed. So I would suggest that we carry on with the discussion. We go through the reports, we make sure that we make the necessary changes that we would need to do today to include everybody's input, and that we carry on and we adopt these notes and the budget today. Nothing stops us from going back, and we have the opportunity to further discuss these matters with everybody, because policing isn't as simple as what people think, and there are still a large amount of people that we have to contact and get through. So I think we should just proceed as follows. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Shikeling. May I ask, can I have someone that seconds the report? Honorable Muela? Honorable Mbio, thank you.
I therefore support that.
I will then say that the report is adopted.
No, guys, no. You can't adopt the report before we all contribute
Honorable Susana, I can't hear you.
Breaking up, Honorable?
No. No.
Honorable Susana, I can't hear you. It's breaking up.
I can hear you.
Honorable Susana, I can't hear you.
No.
I can see you, but I can't hear
I'm saying hello. Chair. Hello. Hello.
Honorable Susana, you can continue.
Do you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yes, I'm saying what's the right? What's the right to report and say we will make it? And why can't we have a weekend? Why can't we have a weekend and let's consult as well? Let's do that. What's that? Adopting is
Honorable Susana, you're more than welcome to reserve the right. We can minute that you're not approving the report, and you can also then reserve your rights if you do not
Chair,
approve of
please
the
note,
report, and we will minute that.
please note that the EFF does not approve of the report, and also note the reason why we don't want to approve this report.
Thank you, Honorable Chape. Honorable Susana, we really cannot hear you.
can hear you. Unmute me, please. Hello.
Honorable Susana, you are not muted. We haven't muted you. We can't hear you. The signal on your side is too bad. We can't hear you. It's very noisy when you switch on, and it keeps on breaking up. Nicolette, please minute that the EFF do not accept the report. Okay, we can. So the EFF reserves their rights on the report. And I assume from what I tried to hear from Honorable Susana is that they also reserve the right on the report. The report is adopted, taking into consideration that both the EFF and MK have reserved their rights on the report. Honorable Susana, we can adopt the report. We will minute that you haven't accepted it and that you have reserved your right on the report.
No, I don't know that. I object it.
Well, I can approve it. We can move forward on the report. We have minuted that you object.
Yes, fine.
Thank you, Honorable Susana.
For me,
Can we please move forward onto the IPID report? Thank you, Nicolette. Honorable Shikelik, I just want to ask Honorable Susana, we can't hear you.
I'm saying, Chair, for me, it looks like you have already made your decision on this thing. No, we are just coming here to to be part of this meeting, but only the decision has been taken already somewhere.
Sosana, you're breaking up. We can't hear you. I grasp what you're saying, that you object. It's been minuted, and we can certainly discuss it again. Now for the IPID report, I would like to go through the committee recommendations. The department's budget allocation must be reviewed and increased to enable the department to execute its constitutional mandate to strengthen police accountability. We're going to observations first.
Apologies.
Sorry, Nicolette, no problem. The committee raised serious concerns about insufficient capacity and resourcing. The department noted this constrains the department to effectively discharge its constitutional mandate. Committee noted that a more considered approach is needed when examining IPID's budget, resource allocation due to its specialized nature, a critical role for the critical role that it plays in police accountability and restoring the legitimacy of the SAPS. The committee resolved to further interrogate possible amendments to the budget allocation of IPID during the adjusted allocation period. And this is the same as what we proposed with SAPS. This will give us adequate time to address the issue regarding meeting and consulting the relevant stakeholders, and then we can make the relevant adjustments without hampering any police work in the meantime. And then 5.2, the committee further raised concerns about the workload of IPID investigators and noted that the continued increase in backlog cases over the past financial years is indicative of the capacity constraints experienced by the department. The committee noted that the conditions of detention facilities at police stations are often undesirable and that arrests are sometimes mistreated by the police. These factors necessitate a well-resourced body to effectively deal with potential criminality within SAPS. I would like to add here, Nicolette, Honorable Plaikis's point regarding the issue regarding public works and the list of sites or stations and whom they belong to. It is important that IPID also in future report the specifics and not just say that a station or correctional or rather facility cells at the different stations are not adequate. 5.3, the committee requested the department to indicate the turnaround rate of investigators and questioned whether the performance indicators to employ youths is potentially eroding experience within the department. The department indicated that they are experiencing devastating losses to sister departments in the criminal justice system like SIU and ID. The committee noted that IPID investigators work under intense stress and questioned whether adequate wellness programs and counseling services are available to support investigators and staff in general. The department indicated that a service provider was appointed in December 2023 to offer counseling and referral services to specialized psychologists and psychiatrists. You can move down. 5.5, the committee questioned whether the department offered protection to civilian witnesses and investigators during high-profile investigations. The department noted that protection is offered to investigators, but due to budget constraints, this cannot be offered to civilian witnesses. The executive director mentioned several cases in which witnesses were harassed, intimidated, and even killed during investigations. The department indicated that engagements with Department of Justice and Constitutional Development are ongoing to offer witnesses protection under Witness Protection Act. I think, Nicolette, please add here, examples were mentioned specifically with regards to cases that are being heard at the Randburg Magistrates Court in Gauteng. And also the example of the security detail of the deputy president during the past, I think, 18 months, where they assaulted members of the public. And down to the recommendations. The department's budget allocation must be reviewed and increased to enable the department to execute its constitutional mandate to strengthen police accountability in South Africa, while taking cognizance of previous recommendations from National Treasury that IPID should demonstrate improved capacity to fill its vacant funded post, recommends the Minister of Police should engage his counterpart in National Treasury to find lasting solutions to effectively resource the department. The department should intensify engagements with the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development to provide protection for witnesses in IPID investigations. And then lastly, the department should update its proposed expansion strategy to be considered by the committee. In conclusion, the committee commends the good work done by IPID while noting serious capacity challenges, especially in the number of investigators. The committee will support all efforts by IPID to find the necessary resources to implement its constitutional mandate and make a meaningful impact on police professionalism. The Portfolio Committee on Police supports the budget of the Independent Police Investigative Directorate for 2024-25 and recommends that the budget vote 24 be adopted. I want to ask if there are anyone that would like to reserve their rights, any political parties that want to reserve their rights on the report.
Please note the objection of the EFF Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Lehlape. It's noted. Honorable Mbiu, are you reserving your right or are you seconding?
I'm seconding. Sorry.
Chair.
Oh.
I'm coming to you now, Honorable Plaatjes. I think it's you. I'm going to come to you now, Honorable Mbiu.
I was saying I'm moving to adopt the report with amendments.
Thank you, Honorable Mbiu. Honorable Plaatjes.
Yes, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to check on 5.3, Chair.
Yes.
I think we must also deal with the turnaround strategy of the case completion. I think IPID in itself is putting itself in a serious, dangerous situation with a turnaround of 90 days. I think we should maybe, as a committee, ask them or in collaboration with them, review that. Well, that can also be an effect that is putting strain on the investigators. Where they have a turnaround of case completion of 90 days. I don't think that is fair to the already case load that the detectives are having in themselves. So I just wanted to raise that one, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Plaatjes. Honorable Plaatjes, I want to ask you, and we don't have to use it as a formality now, we can discuss it with them, but what would you think is a fair time period?
No, what I will do, for now I want to review it. When we do our engagement with them, I will maybe have a fair turnaround strategy on that and a proper proposal.
Thank you, Honorable Plaatjes. Honorable Mbiu, and then I'm going to come to Honorable Skosana. Honorable Mbiu, over to you.
No, sorry, Chair, it's the legacy hand. Let me remove it.
Thank you, Honorable Mbiu. Honorable Skosana. Are there any other changes that you would like to make or additions you would like to add before we adopt the report? We then move forward with the EFF reserving their right on the report. And yes, that's it. Thank you.
No. Hello.
Honorable Skosana.
I've been raising this. I'm saying it looks like we are on this committee just to adopt everything we were discussing with the in our previous sitting.
Honorable Sposana, your signal is very bad. Well, we cannot hear you clearly.
And for me, it's strange because I can hear you very clearly. And I'm not sure why I'm not hearing on the other side. But I'm saying,
I think we can say that MK reserves their right as well, along with the EFF. Honorable Sposana, I'm moving forward to Secretariat. We cannot hear you clearly, but I have minuted that you reserve your right on the report, do not approve of it. Will you please move on to Secretariat?
Sorry, Chair, before we move to Civilian Secretariat, the report must be seconded.
It has been. Honorable Mbiu
Okay.
seconded it. Thank you, Babalwa. The committee made the following observations during the budget hearings regarding the Secretariat. The committee expressed significant concerns about CPFs as crucial elements in the holistic approach to crime prevention, including issues such as a lack of adequate training, resourcing, and uniformity. Members raised concerns that CPF members are often used as police officers, which leaves them unprotected in dangerous situations as civilians, and they do not enjoy the same protection and benefits in case of injury or death as police members. The misuse of CPFs further means that its members often overstep their mandate, and the committee questioned the way the department monitors and oversees these transgressions. The committee highlighted the need for the finalization of the review of the SAPS Act to give effect to the new funding model of CPFs. There are widespread discrepancies in the establishment and resourcing of CPFs countrywide, depending on provincial departments and provincial executive councils. The committee indicated that there must be a standardized approach applied across all provinces. Members noted the fundamental difference between the mandates of CPFs and neighborhood watches, in that CPFs are meant to be an oversight body and not an operational body like neighborhood watches. Members noted the establishment of CPFs at police stations should not be made or be dependent on the station commander. You'd remember that this was a specific point that was elaborated on by Honorable Plaatjes. And we furthermore say this is seen as a conflict of interest and should be changed. The committee noted, may I say there, sorry, Nicolette, a proposal to say that it should be changed with the relevant checks and balances. So if the station commander does play a role, I think there need to be certain checks and balances in place to ensure exactly what Honorable Plaatjes has warned against, that it doesn't become an additional force of a station commander that is then abused or misused in any way. Then we say the committee noted that it intends to review the 1997 Community Policing Policy Framework. There's a typo there, while also considering the 2018 Community Safety Forum's policy. Members raised concerns about the lack of public awareness of the department's mandate as a key stakeholder in the civilian policing oversight architecture of South Africa. The department's mandate is not visible to the broader society, and members questioned, you can scroll down, whether the department could develop a broader marketing strategy to advertise its services and mandate. Members indicated that citizens do not understand the department's mandate and thus questioned the impact of the department on the performance and professionalization of the SAPS. The committee further highlighted the importance of a uniformed approach to civilian oversight over the police service. The recommendations that were made included the department should ensure that the South African Police Service Amendment Bill is finalized and tabled in Parliament during the 2024-25 financial year. The department should develop strategies to drive a bigger impact on police performance and professionalism, and the department should improve its marketing strategies to the public to bring about awareness of the role that CSPS plays in police accountability. In conclusion, the Secretariat must prioritize its role to reduce violent crime through the promotion of a more active citizenry and establishment of a new social compact. The key aspect thereof is the effective implementation of the 2016 White Paper on Safety and Security and the ICVPS which focuses on realizing the vision of 2030 and creating an integrated and holistic approach to safety and security across all government departments and civil society. Portfolio Committee on Police supports the budget of the Civilian Secretariat for Police Service for the 2024-25 and recommends that the budget vote 21 be adopted. Are there any amendments that anyone would like to make? None. May I ask who seconds or rather ask for reservations of rights first? Honorable Schikkerling.
Thank you, Chair. I don't reserve the right. I would like to adopt the report as is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Schikkerling.
Chair.
Honorable Letlape.
Chair, please note the objection of the EFF.
Thank you, Honorable Letlape. Noted.
Sorry, Chair, can I come in, please?
Yes, please do, Babalwa.
Chairperson, the member who proposed the adoption of the report, she cannot be able to adopt the report simply because her name was not published at that particular time when we were considering the reports. Her name was only tabled as a member of the committee yesterday, so she won't be able to propose for the adoption of the report.
100%. Thank you, Babalwa.
Another thing, Chair, the alternate members are also not allowed to adopt the reports. They can do that when the full members are not in the meeting and then they act on behalf of the members for their political parties.
Thank you, Babalwa.
Thanks, Chair.
Is there anyone else that would like to second the report?
Chair, I move for the adoption of the report.
Thank you, Honorable Plaatjes. Noted. Thank you very much, everyone. I would like us to, we will discuss all of this again. It's important to note that there is an amendment period coming up later this year. Honorable Letlape, I've noted all of your comments and please take my word that I do take it seriously. We will also meet regarding this and I wish you all well for your debates next week, Tuesday. I think there's adequate time to spend in preparation of that. And thank you for everyone's input. There's a hand up there.
It's me, Babalwa. Chair, can I come in, please?
Yes, please, Babelwa, you're more than welcome.
Chair, I kindly request you to ask the members to second the report because the previous speaker from, sorry, I can't pronounce her surname properly. The previous speaker from the DA, her name when we were considering the report. So Mr. Plaatje, he proposed, then I kindly request you to ask for a seconder for the report.
Yes, sure. Honorable Mbio.
I second for the move of the report.
Thank you, Honorable Mbio. Noted. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to conclude the meeting. Good luck with the debates and other sittings that you might have throughout the day, and travel safely. See you soon.